Hey guys, it's Emma and welcome back to my channel. So today I have a super exciting video that unfortunately I think is going to be a little bit late, so I apologize for that. But today I'm going to be doing my July/Book Junkie Trials TBR. So yeah, so the first thing to know is that I am on Team Mage, which is Back in the Books team. But the whole thing is done by Her Royal Highness Rachel Marie, so I will link them below. But yes, but since I am a mage, I have the ability to change time, and I have a 3-day head start, which means that I can start on the 28th of June. So I'm going to first go through my set TBR for being a mage in our mage quest, and then I will go into our extra books for extra points that I can read after I finish the quest as a magi. So first we're starting off at Orc Grove, which is where the orcs live, and to learn some of the customs of the orcs we have to read a book that is gruesome, gory, or gritty, and for that I'm going to be reading Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. This is the sequel to Vicious, which I read at the end of last year and loved and gave 5 stars. So this series follows Eli and Victor as they are on 2 different timelines. So one timeline we're following is them at university doing like a thesis basically on these things called EOs, which are basically extraordinaries, so they are people with superpowers, I guess you could say. And then we're also following them now and sort of the aftermath of all their actions in the past and since then. But yeah, I'm super excited to get into this. I've been meaning to pick this up for so long. I got this for Christmas, so it's been a very long time waiting. I also know that there's new characters in here that we didn't meet in the first one, so I'm excited to see how that goes. Next, we go on to Old Pirate Cove, where we will be walking the plank if we don't learn how to sail better, so we must read a book that at least takes part on the sea, and for that I will be reading Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. I've heard amazing things about this book from Brittany the Bibliophile, among others, and I also like it because it's a short. So yeah, this is gonna be a quick read, I believe, and this follows this girl named Alosa, who is a pirate captain of this ship, as she is the daughter of the Pirate King, and she is on an adventure, and I believe it's an all-female crew, and she is set on a mission to retrieve an ancient hidden map, the key to a legendary treasure trove. But she deliberately allows herself to be captured by her enemies, giving her the perfect opportunity to search their ship. But yes, like I said, heard great things. This was also on Amazon for like $7 or something, $6. So I thought, why not pick it up and add it to my list. And then we go to Glimmer, which is the Isle of Gems and Crystals, and here we have to read a beautiful or colorful book. So for that I'm going to be reading Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, but it's my illustrated copy and I don't want to take it out right now, but I'm going to be bringing it to the beach, so I hope that it's okay. But yes, this is the illustrated edition by J.K. Rowling, and Jim Kay does the illustrations, and I'm really excited to read it, and I don't feel like I have to tell you what Harry Potter's about. I should just take out the illustrated edition. I just don't want to ruin it. Okay, I decided to take it out, but yes, I will be reading Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. This is very heavy, but the illustrations of this are just, they're just beautiful, and I haven't looked through really because I want to be kind of surprised when I'm reading this. I have read this once before, I believe, because my mom has the first 2 illustrated editions. So yeah, this will be joining my pile. So next we will be going to the Dragonic Isle, where we have to read a book that features dragons. So for this I will be reading The Two Dragon Society by Katie O'Neill. I am super excited about this. Surprisingly enough, this was in the children's section, which I don't know if it's children's or not, but it was there. But yes, this okay. This is about Greta, who is an adventurous blacksmith apprentice, and the people she meets as she becomes entwined in the enchanting world of the tea dragons. After she discovers a tea dragon at the marketplace, Greta learns about the dying art form of tea dragon caretaking from the kind tea shop owners. As she befriends them and their shy ward, Greta sees how the craft enriches their lives and eventually their own. I've just heard this is an amazing book, and that there's my library slip. The illustrations are beautiful, so I'm super excited to read this. I also haven't read many. I think I've read like 1 or 2 graphic novels, so I'm excited to get into that one. And lastly, for the Path of the Magi, we will be going for the Bookie Grail, which here we will find a lost manuscript delivered on this forgotten island by a fallen star. So for that, we have to read the group book, which is Stardust by Neil Gaiman. I also picked this up from my library, so shout out to libraries. But yeah, this, I have no idea what it's about. I've never read anything Neil Gaiman, so I'm just gonna read you the blurb, and I hope you don't mind. If you know this is about, you can skip forward like 15 seconds. I don't know. But yes, in the sleepy English countryside at the dawn of the Victorian era, life moves at a leisurely pace in the tiny town of Wall, so named for an imposing stone barrier that divides the village from an ancient meadow. Armed sentries guard the sole gap in this wall in order to keep the curious from wandering through. Only once every 9 years do they relax their vigil when a market fair unlike any others comes to the meadow. Here in Wall, young Tristan Thorne has lost his heart to beautiful Victoria Forrester. But Victoria is cold and distant in fact as the stars she and Tristan see fall from the sky on a crisp October evening. For the coveted prize of Victoria's hand, Tristan vows to retrieve the fallen star and deliver it to his beloved. It is an oath that sends the lovelorn swain over the ancient wall and propels him into a world that is strange beyond imagining. But yeah, this is supposed to be really good. I believe there is a movie off of it as well, and it just seems like a whimsical sort of fantasy. I don't know. I'm really interested. These are the 5 books that I will be reading for the Magi Quest, and yeah. So in addition to these 5, I will be doing some additional challenges because I read more than 5 books in a month. So I have a spreadsheet with the challenges and what I'm going to use them for. So I only have 2 or 3 really set, so I'm just going to go through those as well. So for Crimson Peaks, we have a Reread a Favorite, and the ones that I have on there are A Court of Thorns and Roses, a Fangirl, or a Landline. I've been reading to reread Fangirl, and I want to read A Court of Thorns and Roses to continue on with the story. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be A Court of Thorns and Roses. I just have to buy a copy because I own the 2nd and 3rd, so I just want to complete my set. For Queendom Stone, read a book featuring royalty. I have 5 options for you. I have Her Royal Highness by Rachel Hawkins, which is the companion novel to Prince Charming by Rachel Hawkins, previously known as Royals, which I loved. I gave it a 5-star. It was my first 5-star of the year. Then we have Akamath, A Court of Mist and Fury. I have never read past A Court of Thorns and Roses, so I'm excited to go into that. I also have A Court of Wings of Ruins if I read another prompt first, and Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder, which I have over there, but I didn't grab it. But yes, that follows the girl who's basically a king's food tester, so yeah, Poison. Yeah. And so for The Forgotten Forest, read the next book in a series. It's basically a lot of the same. We have A Court of Mist and Fury, A Court of Wings of Ruin. Then we have The Exiled Queen, which is the 2nd book in the 7 Realms series. It's really inspiring. I read The Demon King in October, I believe, of last year. Something like that, and I really enjoyed it, so I've been meaning to move on with the series. We also have Clockwork Princess and City of Fallen Angels. So for The Forgotten Forest, my answer is probably going to be Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare, because this is the 3rd book in the Infernal Devices series, and I'm trying to read at least 1 Cassandra Clare book a month. So yeah, I am up to this. But if I use this for another challenge, then I can do any of the other ones I mentioned, which also include Season Storm and Rain Rising. For the Weeping Falls, read a tearjerker. I only have The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which I should be getting on ebook. Not ebook, on audiobook from my library. It says I have about 2 weeks of waiting, and I am starting a job on the 8th of July. So my mom and I commute there, and it's like a 40-minute drive there and then 40 minutes back. So I figure we can listen to that there and back if she's okay with that. For Dwarf Mound, read a book with a hint of romance. I can basically read any of those fantasy books that I was talking about, and then basically any of the Mortal Instruments if I'm up to there. And then we also have Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan, or any other contemporary if I want to throw that in if I'm feeling it. I'm really a mood reader, so I didn't want to set these up really. I want to just have a little bit of free reign. We also have The Unhoneymooners, which I think I'm supposed to be getting this month. I also have Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating, which I'm going to add in here. The Unexpected Everything Memoir. Apothecary Towers, choose a book at random from your bookshelf. I will be doing that at the moment when it happens, because my TBR number is going to change because I have a lot of owned books, you know, that I'm trying to read. So I don't want to pick something that's I'm already going to be reading. But yeah. Okay, for the Great Library, read a TBR bet. So for this, I'm going to be choosing a TBR, like a physically owned one. So I only have 2 of them in here because the other 2 are in my living room. But we have The Sea of Trolls and Dragon Rider, which Sea of Trolls by Nancy Farmer and Dragon Rider is by Cornelia Funk. And these are both books that I got in like 6th or 7th grade from the Scholastic Book Fair. Does that still happen anymore to schools? I really don't know. But yeah, so this one, you can see I read a little bit of. But yeah, I don't know if I've ever read this, so I just figure get those out of the way. They're hanging out on my childhood classics like fantasy shelf right now, and I haven't read them, so I'd like to read them. The other 2 that are in the other room are both the J.K. Rowling books, because I've never read anything of hers other than Harry Potter. So we have The Casual Vacancy and The Cursed Child. So those are possibilities. For The Drowning Deep, read a book with rich world building. We have a few different options. From the ones that I own, we have 3 options. We have The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin, Truth Witch by Susan Dennard, and Pathfinder by Orson Scott Card. So yeah, I could read one of those. I also have, also Cinder by Marissa Meyer. Then we have Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, which I am planning on buying soon. And over there is Children of Blood and Bone, but I don't feel like grabbing it. This is just a category where I'm gonna, again, try to get more of my TBR down. Next, we have The Elvenguard, read a book with war, military, or political themes. I'm not gonna pick up these books, but we have The Exiled Queen by Cinda Williams-Chima, which I've already mentioned, and Poison Study as well. Then we have Season Storm or Ruin and Rising, whatever I'm up to in the Grishaverse. So yeah, I don't own those 2, but those would be from the library. For The Hollow Isle, read an atmospheric or horror book. I have picked out from the library The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I know this is a lot of people's like favorite book of all time, and everyone loves it, so I've been dying to read it. I was going to buy it, but I just randomly picked it up from my library because I saw it, so yeah. The other options I had for this were The Devouring Grey, The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman, and Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. For Empty Barrel Inn, read an indulgent read. Again, this is something where I'm more thinking of mood reading. We have basically just anything romance. So we have Anything by Nicholas Sparks on my TBR, which I have a lot of. Crazy Rich Asians, Romancing the Duke, which is the next book in the Tessa Dare, and like a book in Tessa Dare's that I want to read because I got into romance with Samantha Vaughn, and The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. And lastly, for Giant Squid, read a book that intimidates you. I do have 1 book out from the library, which could also work for Hint of Romance, and that is Fruits Basket by Natsuki Takaya? I don't know how you say that, I'm sorry. Which I had recommended to me by Olivia Reads a Latte. And yeah, I've been meaning to try manga again, so because I've only read a little bit of Death Note, so yeah. this could work for a book that intimidates me because I haven't read it. I also have for this The Goldfinch, and then really a lot of my classics, Pride and Prejudice. They're all behind here. Peter Pan, anything like that. We also have Game of Thrones, Way of Kings, The Name of the Wind, but I feel like those are pretty big for this kind of readathon, so I probably won't be reading any of those. So yeah, that, guys, has been my July TBR and my Book Junkie trial TBR. So please let me know if you're doing the Book Junkie trials and what team you're on. And yeah, I hope it's successful for you guys. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you did. I am posting videos at least once a week, which would be Saturday, but if I do have an extra video, it's usually on Wednesday or Thursday, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!